What's up, guys? It's TJ here with you today. And if you haven't noticed, I've kind of switched up what exactly I'm doing with the YouTube channel or the podcast. I'm no longer putting myself out there as a coach, I'm putting myself out there as an author and a podcaster. And this is because I kind of got bored of the whole coaching idea where I'm trying to get people to meet with me, and it was taking up a lot of time, and I wanted to be able to free up my time a little bit so I could share more and to explain more. And I'd also been a coach for a couple of years. I've helped a lot of people, and it was a good experience, but now I decided I want to change it up and be more of an author and go ahead and share my ideas and my books with you guys on health, on specifically mindfulness and building muscle, my two favorite things right now. So why not make my life and my channel and my podcast more about the two main things I love in my life? And so now I'm going to be talking more about the spiritual things I've put in this book, Stop Waiting for Heaven, that I'm going to go ahead and go over today with you guys. And so today we're going to talk about astral projection. So some of you may have heard about astral projection. What exactly is it? How do you do it? How did I do it? What was my experience? We're going to go through all that. But first off, if you love topics like this, please be sure to share this video with other people so they can learn also about things like this and the possibility of even being able to leave our bodies in the first place. Because let me tell you, an experience like this is so helpful in many ways, especially getting over the fear of death. A lot of us have that. A lot of us feel uneasy about death. We've lost loved ones, but having this experience helps you to get over that fear and be able to realize how beautiful this life really is, because death really is just a transmutation of energy. It's just us changing to different forms. And so when you have an experience like this, it really helps you to grasp the reality of how beautiful this life is and how amazing it is to be in a body and to be here now. And so what exactly is astral projection? Astral projection is when you project, you are able to leave your body into what is called the astral realm. Now there's other words for this. We've called spirit world is what I was raised with. That's what I was taught. We can say other dimensions. However you want to put it, you're leaving your body. And in a sense, my belief is astral projection actually happens to us all the time. So when we dream, when we're deep inside of a thought, where we're thinking a thought, and it's like our consciousness goes into that thought that we're thinking, and for a moment we're kind of out of the present moment, right? If you're sitting with a friend, you're talking to them, you're not actually being present in the moment when you're thinking about what you're going to do the next day, because really you're kind of projecting yourself, your consciousness, your soul into that thought. Or of course, when you're dreaming, you're of course not aware of you laying in bed. You're in your dream. You're in these different thought forms. You're doing different things. And so with the way I see it, it makes sense that is also projection of some sort. We're projecting our consciousness, our soul, our being, our essence into other things. Our body's still functioning. We're still partially there as well, but we're able to project ourselves into different things. And so of course the idea of ourselves, it kind of depends on what you believe in, really, of what we really are, what is our essence. But I won't go into that deep stuff. We're just going to talk about more of our soul being able to move. So that is astral projection, the ability to be able to project out of our bodies during different times. And so with my experience about to go over, it was a projection in the sense that I was able to leave my body. And so I'm going to actually read from a book for you guys about my experience. I'm not going to go over the whole experience because it would be kind of a longer video if I did. But I'll go ahead and read the first part of it, and then I'll go ahead and discuss it afterwards. All right. And this is from my book, Stop Waiting for Heaven. Back in December of 2021, I was going to sleep early since I had to get up at 5 a.m. for work the next morning. I was having mild anxiety about something or other, and I was letting my thoughts keep me awake. I started to meditate. Meditation for me at that time meant focusing solely on the breath, going in and out of my nostrils and mentally repeating in and out with each breath. After the first few hours of meditating on my breath, I ended up having some adventurous lucid dreams. Dreams where you're aware that it is a dream, just in case you know what lucid dreaming was. The day or so previous to this night, I had heard of astral projection and had the strong intention of trying it. And with the intention and the state of my brain waves and the state of my brain waves were in, I slipped out of my body. First off, I still looked somewhat human as I started by looking back at my body laying in bed and being in awe. Then I looked down at the form I was now embodying. Excuse me. I was multicolored, everything from a deep black to a vibrant green that seemed to cover my entire being. In this realm, your ability to perceive existence, or your sixth sense, is heightened because it's no longer clouded by the ego's chatter of helping you to survive. So feeling any emotion or thoughts was way more pure and effortless. The feeling of oneness, interconnected with everything within and without, was effortless. This feeling is a part of your very being in this state of consciousness. Our soul can have this connected quality where we are less focused on our bodies in the dimension of matter and survival, because we are more narrow-minded with our survival minds. But when you have achieved astral projection, narrow-mindedness is blown off the hinges. I felt freedom and unlimited ability, having been freed of the body, although a deep connection to it remained because my body was still breathing and I had a heart still beating. As I moved around and explored this realm, I would frequently convene back in my bedroom where my body was to check on it to make sure it was still okay. My wife would also occasionally move over or snore or bump into me, causing me to be drawn back into my body, where I would get situated away from her, go back to observing my breath, and then before I knew it, I'd be watching over my body again. This process was repeated for a while. My soul could slide in and out of my body like a kid on a sled. After admiring my soul form that I seemed to be traveling in, I amazed myself at being able to travel through walls and my door. I could still perceive that it was dark outside and in the apartment as it was around 1 or 2 a.m. This wasn't an experience where I was not aware of some things and more aware of others. I was aware of everything that I could be aware of. It added levels of awareness on top of what I was accustomed to acknowledging around me. I perceived color more vibrantly, and matter had a more lively appearance. Not only could I move through seemingly solid objects, but I could see through them as well. I could see through the ground and see plumbing. I could also look through walls. Everything had a transparency to it, making anything solid look like hologram. I could still see cars, city lights, and restaurants on my street, but was still able to see the other dimensions that I was now open to perceiving. To say I felt peace and love on this adventure is an understatement. That was the complete essence of the whole experience. I saw many other beings traveling, but interestingly enough, even though I could fly, I saw lots of souls who would just walk down the sidewalk. Because of my heightened awareness to perceive emotions, I could feel depression from certain people from a distance. Although space and time is experienced way differently in a state of consciousness like this. Many of the beings that were just walking around seemed pretty lost and depressed, and whether they were in the physical realm or the realm I was in, or both, I didn't know. I then explored more than just my street, although I remember being so engrossed in experience that just the first square mile I lived in was full of experience. I traveled across the city in what seemed like a second. I can move at the speed it took me to just think of where I wanted to go, and I would be there. But I remember actually intending to go through the action of flying just because it was fun. Although I knew I could have been anywhere in an instant, I checked my parents and my siblings sleeping in their beds in Arizona, then flew to Utah in what seemed like a split second, although time is hard to describe within these realms. Alright, so that was the first half of my astral projection experience in my book, Stop Waiting for Heaven. And so let's start with how exactly we get to a point like this, or how we can. Well, for me personally, what helped was having a practice of meditation. Up to this point, I'd already been meditating for at least a few months every single day, sometimes for up to an hour. Although usually I know my minimum has usually been about 20 minutes a day. And these days I don't currently meditate as much. I've been busy with other things like having a child. But meditation is, having a meditation practice is crucial to being able to do things like this, because meditation helps your mind to be more one-pointed. For example, I was focusing on my breath. So something that's abstract, something that helps me to get away from my thoughts, where when you're focused on something abstract like the breath, and I highly encourage anyone beginning in meditation to use their breath as their, what I call an anchor. So use something as your anchor, like the breath. You use that, and then you're able to get free of your thoughts, because your breath is something that's abstract. And so when you're able to just watch your breath, you start to become that awareness that can just watch things. Your soul, if you want to put it that way. And your soul is able to just watch things, just love things, is able just to be there. And your thoughts will go by, of course, trying to take your attention away. And you use a meditation practice to keep focusing on your anchor. And so, and you have to realize too, I did this for hours to be able to have this experience. And so you have the many months of practice of doing this every single day. And then I was able to put that practice to use that night. And so for the first few hours, I ended up lucid dreaming. So my soul was in that state where I was still projecting in the sense I was going to my dreams. And it was very loose. I could go into dreams. I knew if they were dreams. I did whatever fantasy I could think of. I remember flying planes, shooting guns, doing whatever, having cool looking houses. And so I did all those things in my lucid dreams. And of course, once I fulfilled all my fantasy desires, my lucid dreams, I was like, wait a minute, if I can do this, I could project out of my body, like out of my dreams, out of my thought forms. And so I held that intention. So that's the next step. So you have that practice of meditating, you're able to focus your mind, but then you're also able to hold that intention to put it out to the universe, the divine, to God, or whatever you want to call it, putting it out there saying, I'm ready to have this experience. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but I'm ready for it. I'm willing to go through it. And so I held that intention. I kept doing what I was doing. And at this point, I was feeling real good. My soul was very fluid, I guess you could say. My body felt amazing. Anyway, I just remember at one point, my soul got very fluid. And then before I knew it, I was standing by my bed and looking down at my body. And then, like I was telling you guys from the book, I was floating through things. I was doing whatever. And it's hard to put that experience into words because the experience itself of being able to leave your body feels more real than even this life. And so because your soul is able to be very open. For example, your soul is capable of telepathy. So I was able to, because later on in this experience I actually had communication with other beings, which if you want to learn more about, you can go ahead and read my book. But I was able to communicate with other beings on these realms. And when I did that, it wasn't like I was using a physical mouth. I was just able to use telepathy. I was able to not only just send and receive thoughts, but it was the emotion behind them. So like I said in that book, when I saw the other beings on the street, and my guess here is that those beings they either were actual physical people that were just walking down the street late at night, or they were beings who had actually left their bodies, but they were so stuck into such a depressed state that they were still living their life, and simply just walking across the street, all down, depressed, whatever emotions they got addicted to in their life, they carried that on with them to their transition to the spirit world, the astral realm. And so that's kind of my guess on what it was, because I remember I could feel the depression and the shame, the different negative emotions is just oozing off them, and they were darker in color. So I talked about being multicolored. I remember seeing some black, but I also saw a lot of vibrant green. And green is known to be the heart chakra energy, that pure love energy. And I've usually been a pretty heart-led guy. But anyway, so back to this ability to astral project comes from those two main things: being able to focus, and then also just being able to have that intention, being ready for it. And also realizing that there's going to be times where you're ready for it and it doesn't happen. That's okay. It takes an interesting amount of being able to focus, but also let your physical surroundings go in order for you to trust enough that your soul can leave, to feel comfortable enough. Another thing I want to add on to is you have to be in a safe place. So of course, I wasn't just doing this. I wasn't asleep at a park. I wasn't just asleep at a friend's house. I was in my own home. It was nighttime, the doors were locked, my body knew it was safe, and I was comfortable enough to be able to meditate and to slip out. And so just being ready for the experience is very crucial to have this. Also at this time, I was very hungry spiritually. I was ready to learn more. I was listening to a Ram Dass every day. I was meditating the lotus pose every morning. I was doing magic mushrooms, marijuana. I was doing all these plant medicines with solely just the intention to learn more. I was ready to learn more about how the universe works. And so I had a burning desire, burning intention to learn these things. And I was just so open to it. Not that I'm not open anymore, but I have different matters I have to attend to these days as being a father now. And so, or writing books now. And so it's something that you have to have a deep intention for, so your body and soul are ready to have this experience. Another few things I just want to add to as we conclude this video is that astral projection, again, it helps you with the fear of death, which I think is very crucial to us as humans to be able to get over that, because that helps us to enjoy and to love this experience more. Also realized that when I was leaving my body, I didn't have the desire because I just wanted to leave my body. It wasn't because I was super uncomfortable in my body and I just wanted to leave and get out of it. If you're using this as a way to escape your body, to escape life, it's not going to be something that's going to help you in that way. Because no matter where you go, you're going to deal with the things that you've created. You've created your own fears, your own issues, your own insecurities. And so this is something where you could use it to try and hide or get away, but you could also use it to love yourself more. And ever since I came back to my body, I had a deeper appreciation for my body and how it is used as a vehicle for learning and love and inspiration. So anyway, that's my experience, guys. I hope that these things help you in your journey on learning how to astral project. I know I don't have a bunch of complex steps, because really it's one of those things where it's actually very simple in practice, but it is something that takes, it's not always easy. It's not easy to still the mind and be able to have our soul fluid like that. But I can promise that a practice meditation and that intention to learn more, to be able to leave and to learn more about these other dimensions, it's definitely possible to do. All right, guys, be sure to go also and grab my book, Stop Waiting for Heaven, if you want to learn more about these things. And not just that, Stop Waiting for Heaven is mainly about, of course, finding heaven within yourself, finding heaven here and now, and achieving inner peace as you are in your life right now. And so if you want to go ahead and check out my book, it'll be in the link, whether this is a YouTube, podcast, whatever, I'll have in the description. All right, guys, we'll see you. Have a great day. Much love to all of you.